Hello and welcome to our video series on the resurrection of Jesus. In the previous episode, we responded to the sixth of 7 most popular skeptical theories concerning the resurrection of Jesus. In today's segment, we're going to take a look at the final skeptical theory, namely the myth theory. According to this theory, the New Testament authors copied the story of the resurrection of Jesus from the dead from various pagan resurrection myths. Skeptics are quick to cite supposed resurrections of mythical characters like Marduk, Adonis, and Osiris. Could this theory be true? That's not likely for a number of reasons. Firstly, the New Testament accounts of Jesus is clearly historical. Unlike pagan myths, the New Testament is loaded with eyewitness evidence and real historical figures, and it is corroborated by several outside sources like archaeology and non-Christian historians and leaders. Secondly, the pagan myth theory can't explain the empty tomb, the martyrdom of eyewitnesses, or the testimony of the non-Christian writings. Nor can it explain the evidence that leads nearly all scholars to accept the other historical facts we listed in the earlier episodes, namely the death of Jesus Christ on the cross, his burial by Joseph of Arimathea, the empty tomb, the post-mortem appearances of Jesus, and the origin of the disciples' belief in the resurrection of Jesus. Thirdly, ancient non-Christian sources knew that the New Testament writers were not offering mythical accounts. As Professor Craig Blomberg observes, quote, "The earliest Jewish and pagan critics of the resurrection understood the gospel writers to be making a historical claim, not writing myth or legend. They merely disputed the plausibility of those claims." End quote. Fourthly, no Greek or Roman myth spoke of the literal incarnation of a monotheistic God into human form, as we see in John 1:1-3 and 14, by way of a literal virgin birth as in Matthew 1:18-25, followed by his death and physical resurrection. The Greeks were polytheists, not monotheists as the New Testament Christians were. Moreover, the Greeks believed in reincarnation into a different mortal body. The New Testament Christians, as mentioned in several passages such as Luke 24:37, John 9:2, Hebrews 9:27, believed in resurrection into the same physical body which is made immortal. Fifthly, as Edwin Yamunaki notes, the first real parallel of a dying and a rising God does not appear until AD 150, more than 100 years after the origin of Christianity. So if there was any influence of one on the other, it was the influence of the historical event of the New Testament on mythology and not the reverse. The only known account of a god surviving death that predates Christianity is the Egyptian cult god Osiris. In this myth, Osiris is cut into 14 pieces, scattered around Egypt, then reassembled and brought back to life by the goddess Isis. However, Osiris does not actually come back to physical life but becomes a member of a shadowy underworld. As Habermas and Licona observe, quote, "This is far different than Jesus' resurrection account, where he was gloriously risen Prince of Life who was seen by others on earth before his ascension into heaven." End quote. Sixthly, even if there are myths about dying and rising gods prior to Christianity, that doesn't mean the New Testament writers copied from them. One has to look at the evidence of each account to see whether it is historical or mythical. There's no eyewitness or corroborating evidence for the historicity of Osiris' resurrection, or for that matter, any other pagan god. No one believes they are true historical figures, but as we have seen, there is strong eyewitness and corroborating evidence to support the historicity of the death and resurrection of Jesus. Finally, even if the parallels are true for argument's sake, the mythicists never show any causal connection between pagan mythologies and the story of Christianity. Christianity should always be seen within the backdrop of Judaism and not against the backdrop of pagan mythologies. Why would the early Christians, who thought they were God's chosen people, in addition to knowing full well that they ought to abhor pagan and mythical practices, copy from pagan mythology? It really doesn't make any historical or religious sense that the Jews would believe such an abhorrent pagan belief. In sum, for the above-mentioned reasons, the myth theory does not make any sense given the historical facts. Thank you so much for watching. If you do have questions or comments, please let them know and I'll appreciate your thoughts. And if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe. In our next episode, we're going to look at the resurrection hypothesis. So stay tuned and God bless you.